because it'll be 10 years
Wow.
next year.
Really?
Yeah, that he left us. Yeah. Yeah. Can you believe that?
It's hard to believe.
Yeah, 10 years. So I want to do something real special.
I thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Might need your help too.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I just need for you to let me check one more thing. All right, could you lean in just a little bit more?
Okay.
Slightly, if you can. Because that's your gauge right there. You go. Yeah, you can see that.
Okay. Is that good or more?
Oh no, you're good right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Is Betty watching?
Probably.
Okay, let's get this thing. That's your gauge right there. You go. Going. Let me cut that down. Okay, we are live in 3. Oh, no, we're not either. Change that source. Okay, we're live in 3, 2, and 1. Folks, thank you for tuning in. This is Square Media, and this is The Project with Steve Rutherford. Tonight, we have my friend Tre McGriff is here with the show. Tre, thank you for being here, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you having me. Always good to come by and chat with my boy.
Man, yeah, because it's again, we've known each other for a very, very long
Yes.
time in the film and video and that industry.
Right.
And we've always had this conversation about how things are going in the industry, how things are going here in Charlotte, so forth and so on. So, but man, no, I'm glad you could take the time to come out and be on the show.
Anytime.
Awesome, man. How things going in general?
Everything's going pretty good. I mean, I haven't, won the lottery yet, but, I woke up.
Right.
I woke up this morning, y'all. So when you do that, half your battle is over.
So for those who don't know, tell everybody a little bit about Tre. I mean, where are you from exactly?
I'm originally from New York. I've been in Charlotte for 20 years now.
Really? It's been 20?
Yeah, this year makes 20 years. And the time just has flew by. 'Cause,
Right.
The first time I came to visit Charlotte was like 95. I came to visit,
Wow.
and I would come every year to visit,
Right.
stay a week, and just to check out the lay of the land.
Sure,
And then
sure.
in 1999, I made the plunge, and
Wow.
seen a lot of growth
Right.
in this city.
Yeah.
Still a lot.
We're going to talk about that too.
Yeah, definitely.
We're definitely going to talk about that, man. I've got some few choice words for that growth. But
Me too.
It's you are the founder of this film festival.
Yes.
Why? I mean, has that always been with you to want to do this, or why? How did this come about?
Well, I started this really from the perspective of a fan, of just, being a fan of films. And,
Right.
Growing up in New York, just being around different cultures and, different people of color. This was sort of like a no-brainer. I remember as a kid, we were one of the first families in our neighborhood to have cable television.
Right. Right.
But we got the free cable.
Right.
We would pay the guy $25. He climbed the pole, and then boom, we got HBO.
There you go. Yeah.
So, I remember HBO used to have they used to screen a lot of foreign films and
remember that.
films with subtitles. So, I fell in love with those films
Yeah.
from Italy and France, and so that coupled with just a love of just film in general. I'm a 70s, baby. So
Right.
I grew up during that whole period of time when they called it the black exploitation era, and
Yeah.
I always had a
Blackula.
problem. I got a problem with that
Right.
because who was really exploited? You know what I mean?
There you
We
go.
probably put more people to work in front of and behind the camera, and we're probably just catching up to that now.
Yeah.
It was really a robust, period for people, actors and directors and producers. So I never looked at it like we were being exploited.
But but that's during the same time with Superfly and all that stuff, right?
Right.
Right. So let's fast forward to now.
Yeah.
Oh, let's fast forward to maybe I'll go back 5 years
Okay.
up to now. 5 years ago, even further back, of course, it wasn't in my eye anyway. It wasn't very good for anybody black in the industry. And now, of course, you're seeing a lot more folks of color in movies.
Right.
But how's it looking in terms of independent film?
I think independent film is in a really good place now because it's more democratic now. When I started in this crazy business, we were still shooting on film,
Right.
and it was I don't want to show my age, but it was a very expensive endeavor.
Right. Now you
You
can shoot
know?
it on your phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, as part of the festival, for the first time, we're going to have a phone film competition.
Really?
Yeah. So,
So, wait. Let me stop for a second. So these
Yeah.
are folks who've actually taken their phone and shot a film with their phone.
yeah. Mainly the the iPhone.
Right.
Yeah, there have been some features shot on iPhones.
That's a good category, though, man.
Yeah, and it's different. I don't think I haven't seen any of the other festivals locally, at
Right, I was
least. I
gonna
don't
say, I
know
think
about
Sundance did it.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
Sundance, but I thought, why not? I
Yeah.
mean, we had a workshop last year at
Right.
last year's festival where Quentin Littlejohn, he's a local filmmaker. This dude is bad.
Wow.
He's a bad boy. And I mean, I saw a lot of the stuff that he shot
Yeah.
on his cell phone, and I was like, this is the guy that needs to teach this class.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it didn't
But
need.
but has any ever been put together? The stuff that he shot on his phone?
He's mainly shot a lot of shorts.
Right. Okay.
He's
And
working.
I'm sorry, but explain what a short is.
It's a short film, anything from 1 second
Oh,
to 25 minutes.
So,
It
okay.
generally falls into that category.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a short film. So he shot a series of them, and I mean, yeah, his stuff is really really good. So when we
Okay.
talk about local filmmakers,
Right.
he's one to watch. He's definitely, because he's embraced the technology,
Sure.
and has done some really fantastic stuff with the cell phone.
Wow.
Yeah.
What categories do you have?
The categories that we have are best actor, best actress, best documentary, best overall film, best student film, best animated film, best documentary, and best regional film. So if you reside in South Carolina and North Carolina, we have a special category just for those filmmakers.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so, from there, this new category with the cell phone kind of popped out, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, it was like, well, I always knew I was going to do it after the workshop last year.
Okay.
I was like, okay, take this training and go out and shoot some stuff. So we've got some pretty interesting stuff that we've got, submitted thus far.
Right.
Yeah. So
Take me through that process, though, man. You're I can't say the bids were open, but the process was opened when for submittal,
we started submissions on New Year's Eve.
and they're open. They're closing when?
Well, the first round is the first deadline is actually next week. February
So,
8th.
do you have a team of people that's going to look at them?
Yeah, we have
Okay.
a team of people. They go through a process of where they're watched by volunteers first,
Right.
and then we have judges that will
Mm.
actually judge the films on a scale.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. That's a lot of movie watching.
It is, and the first couple of years, it was just me and a couple people doing it,
Yeah.
and one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we watch the film from start to finish.
Right. Sure.
I know that there are some festivals that I've heard horror stories of festivals who sort of just take the money and they don't really watch the film, or they
Right.
might watch a minute of it.
Right.
I think you owe it to a person to watch it all the way through, even if it's bad.
Right.
You
Right.
know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean? Just
At least at that point, you can say, "Listen, it was bad, but it was one part that I really enjoyed."
well,
Okay,
the
maybe not.
credits,
Right.
you know, I don't know. You always are gonna get submissions that are bad. That,
Right.
some filmmakers are just not ready, or so. And and that sort of brings me back to the other point we're talking about, is that I think as a community, there's a lot of good stuff happening here locally and
Right.
throughout the state. I just would like to see more variation in subject matter, and I would like to see filmmakers just be better. You know, you know.
But let me ask you this though, Trey. Is this becoming a place where filmmakers can come to and actually do well? Okay, maybe not. Not yet.
Well, here's the thing. At one time, as you know, the state of North Carolina was the number 3 film producing state in the United States,
Yeah.
only behind New York and California.
California, right.
And this was not that long ago. You're talking about the late 90s, early 2000s, less than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
The problem is that we elected people and put culture slayers
Right,
in
right.
office who don't see the value of filmmaking as an industry. So there were two things at work.
Okay.
One was the so-called runaway productions. Hollywood addressed it by creating these tax incentive programs.
Right.
This was an answer to a lot of the films that left the United States to be shot in Prague and places like that.
Yeah.
So it worked out very well for a lot of states, this one in particular. And then it was, eliminated. And I never understood why.
I don't think anybody knows why.
Yeah.
Well, somebody knows why, but in general, no, nobody knows why.
Well, the narrative is that Hollywood was coming here, getting this big tax break, making this money and leaving, and not really leaving an infrastructure. And that's just bull crap, really, because I know people, I have friends that, work craft services and sound people, and they live here, they pay taxes.
Yep.
They pay Duke Power.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have mortgages.
Exactly.
So to suggest that the crew base here was only coming from LA and they wanted to be here for a short period and make all this money, that's just ridiculous. So where we are right now is they've restored the previous one that they had 2 years ago. It was only like $10 million for this was they called it a grant program, actually.
Okay.
When they eliminated the tax incentive program, they created this grant program, and you're talking about $10 million is nothing.
Right.
A Hollywood production could come in and claim half of that, and then there's
for
only
sure.
5. So but they did improve upon it. They have what's called now. I don't know the official title of it, but it's I guess you could call it a grant / whatever.
Right.
And it's about $35 million. Yeah. So we
Now,
went
is this state money?
Yeah, this
Okay.
is state money.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But, I look at it like this, Steve. I remember a couple of years ago, WFAE
Yeah, FA.
had this town hall,
Right.
and to discuss, this is when the tax incentives were going away.
Right.
So you had like,
McCrory did that.
yeah,
Yeah.
500 people in this room, and everyone, these are all creative people. These
Yeah.
are all people who, worked here. And I remember there was this guy, he was just anti-film, and he might have been a politician. I don't even remember his
Right.
name. But I remember going up to him after the town hall, and I
Right.
said, "What do you have against film?" And he said, "I don't have anything against film." I said, "Well, why are you so gung-ho about
Getting rid
well,
of
it
it.
doesn't bring jobs." I said, "Well, we need to be creative,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I remember, I had an idea. I put it out there, and we make about $50 million from the North Carolina State Lottery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, how much of that money goes to education, I don't know.
Right.
But I always thought, wouldn't it be wonderful if we took 2.5 million of that money
Mm-hmm.
and give 50 filmmakers in the state $50,000
Woo.
yearly?
That would be awesome.
That would be incredible,
Yeah.
because what needs to happen is you have to give them an incentive to stay here.
Right.
A lot of them have left.
Oh, sure.
You
Yeah.
know,
Oh, yeah.
Georgia right now is kicking our ass.
Of course.
You know what I
Yep.
mean? And not only in the film, but the television.
Right.
So you have to do something to attract and incentive, give incentives to filmmakers, homegrown filmmakers in this state.
Right,
You know,
right.
and I think if you had something like that where every year a filmmaker in this state can get $50,000, you can do some stuff with that money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that person's going to stay. They're going to talk about it. They're going to really, it helps the entire system. It
Right.
really, really does when you do that. Because so many people, as you've already alluded to or talked about, people leave. They're going to Atlanta, they're going to Chicago, going to LA,
Right.
because that's where they need to go, because
Right.
this state is not supporting them.
Right.
And that's been that's awful.
Here's the irony.
What's that?
Here's the other irony. In this state, we have 3 of probably the top film festivals in the country. One of them is the Full Frame
Right.
Film, which is probably the best documentary film festival in the country.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Cucaloris Festival, and you also have the River Run Festival.
Yeah.
So if you got 3 great festivals like that, and people are supporting it,
But they're all 3 in North Carolina?
all 3 of them.
Okay. When you said,
Yeah.
I thought it was Columbia, but okay.
Yeah. Full Frame is in Durham.
Right.
Cucaloris, I believe, is in Durham, and River Run is in Winston-Salem.
Okay.
So,
right around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you got 3 great film festivals in the same state, but you don't support state filmmakers,
Yeah.
that's just, there's something wrong with that picture.
Yeah, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. It's freaking stupid.
Yeah. Now they do, I will allow this. They do have, and this was something I think was started by the Cucaloris Festival. They have this program called Made in NC.
Okay.
I don't know that much about it. I don't know, how many filmmakers actually benefit from it.
Right.
How much money, how many filmmakers per year. I don't know a whole lot about it, but
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's a start, but it needs to be better.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Do you know, though, Trey, of any, where can young potential filmmakers go to kind of hone their skills here? Any place?
Well, the good thing, we don't have a film school here.
Right.
The School of the Arts in Winston-Salem is, and that's another thing. That's one of the top film schools in the country. So you got all of this going on. The people
Right.
graduate and then they leave to go.
Right.
They go to LA,
Of course,
but they go
yeah.
to school here.
Yep.
But outside of that, we don't have a lot of film-centric programs to prepare, filmmakers. We don't have it. the equivalent of an NYU or USC.
Right.
And that's a problem on two counts.
Mm-hmm.
One, it's very expensive to go to those damn schools.
Of course it is. Yeah.
You're talking about, people are coming out of those schools $100,000 in debt right
Easy.
off the bat.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but there are some grassroots organizations that do have film classes for little to nothing.
Right.
And then the other thing is there's nothing wrong with being self-taught.
Well, I was just going to say, do you think the film festivals, the local ones that we have here, do they inspire people to become filmmakers and maybe perhaps go out and produce something on their own?
We try, and the thing is, they have to see the thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's aspiring actors, actresses, filmmakers. They
Mm-hmm.
have to see, they have to touch it. They have to be next to it.
Right.
So,
Right.
I know for our festival, we always try to bring in an industry person.
Right.
Christine Swanson came last
Right.
year. And,
Mm-hmm.
she did a screenwriting class, and we kept the
Okay.
class small.
Right.
Where it's just better when it's a smaller
Sure.
class.
Yeah.
The year before we brought in Yolanda Ross, who plays
Mm-hmm.
on the Showtime series The Chi,
Ah.
and the attendees loved it because we got to hang out with her. We went to
Sure.
Bricks, had some pizza,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
talk shop. So a lot of times, aspiring artists, they need to be next to success.
Next to greatness. But yeah.
They have to see it. you
Right,
know?
right.
So we try. I think most of the film festivals statewide, they try to do that.
What would be your, if you could have it being the film industry in North Carolina, what would be your ideal situation? And dream big. I mean, just
Oh yeah. Well, I remember one of the producers of the Showtime series Homeland.
Uh-huh.
I remember having a conversation with him, and he said,
did you work with them at all?
I didn't work with him.
Okay.
I went to an event and got a chance to chop it up with him.
Right.
And one of the things he was saying was that you don't have enough sound stages here.
Right. I don't think, are there any?
I think there's some out in Durham.
Yeah. Okay. But there's none here locally.
But, because they got the school out there.
Sure.
They got to. But he said, you don't have enough sound stages and you don't have a big enough crew base.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was floored.
Yeah.
I said, wow, where did everybody go?
Yeah.
And he said that was one of the reasons why Homeland left.
Wow. Yeah. They kept, I guess they couldn't crew it or continue to crew the shows.
Yeah, they was
That's
like,
awful.
why do we have to keep bringing people in?
Yeah.
When we come to Charlotte, there should already be a crew base here.
Right.
And he said that it was for lack of a better term, it was lacking.
Yeah.
This was his blunt assessment.
Wow. Well, Charlotte's known for the medical industry and the banking industry.
Right.
Hopefully, I mean, it would be nice, don't get me wrong, if the film industry could make a dent here. Because I really think we're kind of poised for it. I think there's a lot of people here that would really, really want it. And if you really think about it, Trey, creatives take it in the shorts here in Charlotte.
Oh,
You know what I mean? We
how
do.
much time you got?
I mean, right? It's just not a good place for creative people, unfortunately. So you've always had this small group of people trying to do their thing. A lot of them work for corporate America somewhere, doing whatever. They got to make some money. But for those folks who are entrepreneurs and they're freelancers and they're doing it on their own, it's a tough gig. It's a real tough gig.
It's tough if it's your career.
Yeah.
Like if that's all you do.
Yeah.
I look at a guy like Quentin Talley. Like I sit on
Quentin,
I sit on the board of On Cue Productions, and he's a full-time artist.
Right.
And it's a grind.
Yeah.
He does poetry, he does music,
Yep.
and then he has the theater company, and it can be a hard grind
Yeah.
in this town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, tell me something, man. You see all of these film festivals here,
Yeah.
and here's yours.
Right.
I mean, do you aspire, do you want CineOdyssey to be where this is or where, I don't know, the LA Film Festival? I mean, do you want it to grow in that way?
Well, yeah, yeah. There are a couple of film festivals that I really, I mean, I watched them and I'm like, wow, they get it, they do it,
Yeah.
right? One of them is the Africana Film Festival
Okay.
in Richmond,
So
Virginia.
that's in Richmond.
Yeah, that's in Richmond.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, who would think, in 4 or 5 years what they've built,
Right.
you
Oh,
know,
it's only been 4 or 5?
yeah, they haven't
Really?
been around. I think they just completed their third annual. Yeah, actually, it was their third annual.
What are they known for?
Um, it's Afrocentric.
Right.
It's sort of films of the people of African diaspora.
Right.
But it's the events that sort of surround it that is so cool.
Right.
And they bring such cool people in.
Really?
They brought in Boots Riley, who did
Right.
the movie. What is it? Sorry, I'm
I'm
forgetting
not
the
sure.
name. Yeah, yeah, Boots Riley, and yeah. The other one that I really love is Black Star.
Mm-hmm.
Black Star Film Festival started about 6 years ago in
Right.
Philadelphia.
Ah, okay.
And then I would say the third one, and and this is not to say that I don't like, I just
No,
sort
I
of
just pull these
yeah,
out.
I just sort of look at the ones that sort of move me
Sure,
like that.
yeah.
That I was like, yeah, I want to get to that level. Is the Tribeca Film Festival in New York?
Ah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they've Tribeca. What they've done, they've the whole process of just going to see films.
Mm-hmm.
They've taken it to another level. They have great sponsors.
Right.
They're heavily into seeing what's new
Right.
as far as technology is concerned.
Uh-huh.
So they really push that. And
But when you say technology, are you talking about in terms of how the film was shot, or how it was shown, or everything, or what?
yeah, just even something is like, and I think this was probably one of the, I wouldn't say this is where I got the idea from,
Right.
but I know they were discussing it on one of their blogs, and I was like, wow, so they're really trying to, push the technology piece,
Right.
in terms of, what's new, what's next.
Right.
I love when people talk about what's next, like when they can see
Yeah.
what's ahead.
Sure.
Like, they're ahead of the curve.
Yep, yep.
And then, of course, like 4, 5, 6, 7 days in Manhattan, in Tribeca, that's just the best place in the world to go watch movies.
Right. Right.
So yeah. So big up to Robert De Niro.
Yeah, yeah.
And that film festival is about 10 years old, so it hasn't been around that long.
Okay. I thought it was longer than that, but okay.
Yeah, they've really grown very quickly.
Have you been to Sundance?
I haven't been to Sundance. That's
This is
one of
what I'm-
my goals.
Here's my question for you,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe you don't know, but Tribeca, is it really good because it feels really personal, as opposed to some places you go to and it feels kind of corporate?
Well, Sundance.
No,
you know,
Tribeca though. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, Sundance for a while was getting the reputation of being moving away from their roots,
Right.
Which was, they were one of the earliest champions of independent filmmakers.
yeah.
So, I mean, I know some filmmakers personally who got their start,
Mm-hmm.
in Sundance. And then at one point, there was some criticism out in the blogosphere that, they were becoming too corporate. And, so they had to pull back.
Yeah.
And I think
Had to
they've
reassess.
sort of, recommitted,
Mm-hmm.
themselves to that, But as far as like, them and then Tribeca, I just think, they're always looking for what's next. Not
Right,
that
right, right.
Sundance doesn't,
Right,
but
sure.
yeah.
But I think
Yeah.
the thing that one of the things that helps, I shouldn't say help, but one of the things that makes Tribeca is where it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have friends who have attended the Sundance, and it's
Right.
like you really have to plan a year ahead of time because the way the layout of the city is, um, you can either be too far away,
Right.
where I heard that it's even hard to get an Uber if you're too far away,
Mm.
or you could be too close where everything's more expensive.
Oh, okay.
Meals
Right.
and room and board,
Yeah.
and then of course if you're not connected,
Yeah.
you may not get into some of the films that you do want to see.
Right.
So,
Right.
and then the other thing, the films go, the ticket sales go, they start like 2 days before the festival, because I'm on the email list, and it was like January 22nd. It was like ticket sales start today. What?
Right. Right.
So even if I wanted to go,
Yeah.
there's probably no way in the world I was going to get into any of the films that I wanted
Right.
to see.
Yeah.
And they got a really good lineup.
Yeah.
They really and they're a great incubator.
Right.
For filmmakers too.
But this is also where, well, I guess a lot of films are I can't think of the word, first shown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the Doris Moomin? She's local here.
No, no.
Her daughter Nigella Moomin did a film called Jinn that was that played in Sundance.
Okay.
Yeah. And Doris actually lives here.
Okay.
And Nigella lives out in L.A.
Right.
But Nigella has actually went on and directed an episode of Queen Sugar for
okay.
for Ava DuVernay.
Right.
So yeah. And there was my understanding, there was a lot of buzz behind her film. I think
Sure.
she played Sundance. I know she definitely did South by Southwest, and I think she did Sundance.
Have you been
too.
to that, by the way? South by South?
No.
Me neither. I want to go.
Yeah, definitely
I just
on the
wanna say
bucket
I've been-
list
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do that. Now, let's speak. What about ABFF? Been there?
Been there a lot.
Oh, been there a lot.
Well, I went 3 times.
Really?
I went twice
That's a lot.
when they were in Miami, and then they briefly moved to LA.
Right.
Then at one point they were in New York,
Oh.
and now they're back in Miami.
yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, no shade.
Right, right.
No shade. I think they have been around for 20 years.
Yeah, that's
you
what,
got to tip. I remember when they were called the Acapulco
Really?
Film Festival. Yeah, they weren't even in Miami the first year or so.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they've been doing it for a long time. They get great corporate support.
Right.
I just feel like it was too big.
Really?
Yeah, for me.
You mean this is bigger than Sundance?
Well, not in the sense that it's bigger than Sundance, but I felt like I got everything I needed.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wanted to sort of, experience, something else. But they, like I said, they get great corporate support.
Right.
One of the things that I thought was changing a little bit at one point was I started to see, films coming in that had, they all had to have recognizable actors.
Oh, yeah.
In them.
Yep,
I
yep.
felt like at one point it was getting like that. I don't know if they've changed because it's been some years since I've been, but you look at somebody like Spike Lee, if he did She's Gotta Have It today, would
Right.
he get in, because he didn't have any recognizable stars in that
true,
film.
True.
But
he made those stars. He helped to make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so big up to them, They're one of the top, black film festivals.
What does CineOdyssey need to really grow?
Money, cash, money.
So, okay,
And I think we're slowly getting support.
right.
This year, I don't know if I should announce this yet, but I did get a grant.
Oh,
And I'm very, very happy for that because I self-funded this film festival the first 2 years.
yeah.
And
Grant writing, by the way, is a pain in the ass, but
it's
go.
it's a science.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Okay.
is. But one of the things I would really like to see more than anything,
Right.
I would like to see people of color have own spaces,
What do you mean?
meaning spaces where we don't have to always go use the venues here.
Oh, yeah.
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 Now, one of the venues the venue that I'm using this year, Mint Museum, I got a lot of great support.
Okay, good.
Shout out to Ruby Britt. I mean, she's just a doll. I love her,
Good,
love
good.
her to death.
Yeah.
But outside of that, where I had the festival last year, and I'm gonna just be transparent because I'm sort of pissed off, but I used the Wells Fargo Auditorium last year, and the only reason why we used them was because the Mint Museum was having renovations done.
Right, sure.
But it's a great theater.
Right.
I've been to quite a few events there, and we had a great festival. We doubled our attendance from
Oh.
the previous year.
Right.
We got a very diverse crowd, and everybody loved it. So here we are, 2019, and I'm like, okay, I would like to have part of the festival in both venues.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because my whole idea is to keep everything centrally located.
Sure. Yeah.
The host hotel that we used last year was right across the street.
Oh, that's
So,
always good. Yeah.
Yes. So when you can walk, see the city, you want to show off your city. You want people to come and be able to go to the restaurants and keep
Right.
everything. So that was, sort of the plan. Well, this year they told me that they rebranded some part of how they work with nonprofits, and that my festival didn't align with a certain vision.
That is straight up bullshit. I mean, I've been around long enough to, I've seen situations like that before, and I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like it, but that's just another way of saying we don't want your black event in our place.
Yeah, and that's sort of, and I've read their mission statement.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we could talk about diversity all we want, but until you actually, if you want to just keep, these art venues for the elite,
Right.
then that's a problem. It's bad enough
Yeah.
that, you have a sizable amount of people in this community that think when you go to an art museum that it means, people with money,
Right.
which is not true.
Right.
Arts and Science Council does a fantastic job in promoting the art, and even doing like free, where you can get in these venues for free, a couple of times a year. So, but when you see stuff like that where, okay, you can't use the venue, like,
Yeah.
why? I'm a 501c3.
Right.
I did my due diligence. I have my EIN number.
Right.
It just was baffling.
Yeah.
But I've been beating this drum for a while.
Sure.
I mean, the only real facility that we have is the old African American Cultural Center, which is now Little Rock Cultural
Oh, yeah,
Center.
right. Okay.
Yeah, Little Rock. I think the city gave Little Rock, and I did my first year. We had our opening night there,
Right.
and they were very gracious people, and I really really. But the facility does need some upgrades.
Sure. Yeah.
It needs to be compliant, particularly along the lines of people who are handicapped.
Right.
So
Right.
those type of things. But it is designated also as a historical.
Historical site.
So
Yeah.
you can only do but so much to it.
That's true. Yeah.
But I that is definitely a venue that I'm going to use.
This year.
Yeah, I'm going to do
Okay.
something there. I
Right.
haven't quite figured out what it is, even if it's just like something, like a kids program or something like that.
Right. Right.
But yeah, but we need like two or three of them.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because, sometimes it's I just question, it's bad enough.
Mm-hmm.
When they built the Gant Center, I was always a little perturbed and confused by the design.
Right.
Now, it's a nice facility, don't
Sure.
get me wrong.
Sure.
But they didn't put a theater in there.
Not a bona fide theater. Yeah. You're right.
Which was puzzling. There should
All
have been,
the other ones have it.
yeah, all the other ones have it.
Yeah.
So if you're on cue and you want to give a theatrical, performance piece, you should be able to give it at the Gant.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, but they can't make it happen there.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lie. They can make it happen. It just wouldn't be the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it sits in a very odd spot on that corner.
Right.
And so the building is long.
Right.
It's just not wide.
right.
And yeah, I don't know who designed it, but
I think, if I'm not mistaken, man, there was I think a theater was originally designed for the place, but the budget wouldn't allow it, or something like that.
now they do have film screenings there. My good friend Felix Curtis,
Mm-hmm.
he has a film series that he does, classic black films that he shows once a month
okay.
there. It's in a smaller, I think it's like maybe 50, 60 seats,
Right, right.
or whatever. So there is film event going on there.
Right, right.
But it would have been interesting to see if they like would have had like a 250 seat theater. That would really
be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really would.
I know,
Yeah.
man. I hear you. So we kind of touched on this right here, indie film climate in general. Kind of talked about that. A hub for filmmakers of color. I can tell you by the expression on his face, folks, that it says, not so much.
We have to create that.
Yeah.
I mean, and that entails being more together as a
Right, yeah,
community.
yeah.
I'm a little disappointed sometimes. We are in these silos, and
Yeah, we are.
and I'm not throwing shade or anything like that, but go to Chicago, go to Atlanta, go to New York.
Yeah.
You see filmmakers have collectives.
Yeah.
Dennis, God bless him, he had created something called the Black Filmmakers Alliance,
Okay.
where we were all together
Right.
in the
right.
same room, and he would monthly bring a guest speaker in.
I remember that.
So, and there wasn't, these silos
Right.
that you sort of see, now. We're only as strong as we are, together. So
Yeah,
I would
you're
I
right.
would like to see that, change. So there's a lot of talent here. Yeah.
You're talking about Dennis, man. And you're gonna do something. You said for him, when?
Next year is the 10th anniversary of Dennis's passing, and I really want to do something, and I actually want you to be involved because I would love to maybe produce a short documentary on him.
Sure.
Okay. That would be really great because more people need to know.
Right.
When I moved here in 1999. Dennis moved here in 2001, and when I moved here, there wasn't a lot of black filmmakers.
No.
I know me, Natasha, maybe a couple,
Oh yeah,
Reggie
Natasha.
Moser.
Yeah, yeah.
I like to think somewhat that, we were maybe pioneers in that regard.
I agree with that.
But what this gentleman did was he came and he made uh, the film screenings an event.
He did. Yeah, he really did.
First time out of the box,
Yep.
700 people packed
Wow.
in the McGlowan Theater. First time
Wow.
event he ever gave.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to meet this guy.
Right.
So I go backstage and we chop it up, and it's like we knew each other all our lives.
Right, right.
And he, was a really good friend, really good mentor. I don't even think I would be doing what I do if he didn't lay the groundwork. And I
Yeah.
think more people need to know.
Yeah.
In his, brief time that he was here, he really did a lot for independent film.
Right.
Definitely bringing black, filmmakers and filmmakers of color together.
Well, he had something. Was it every month he had a film?
Yeah, he did a lot of. He even created this event called Ockfest, where it was like it expanded beyond film, where there was music,
Okay.
there was art. Like you would go into Spirit Square, and all the rooms had something
That's
going
right.
on in it.
Oh my God! Yeah.
You'd see Rudy Currents performing in
That's
one
right.
room. Then there's films going on
Yeah,
in this
true,
room.
true. Yep.
And so it's funny. I always quote one of the things he always said was, just continue to think outside the box
Right.
and
right.
create cool stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
yeah. So he was definitely a good one. Miss him.
I know,
Miss
man.
him to death.
I know.
Yeah.
Listen, what do you think about that right there? I think you said it one time. You're glad that shit is gone.
Well, when it first came here, I faithfully went.
Sure.
Like, every year, like the first 3-4 years, I went, and it was just, it wasn't solely about these parties.
Right. Right.
It just seemed like there was more, varied things to do.
Right.
We spent a lot of time down at the convention center where they had all this cool free stuff going on.
Right.
And then, the games, it seemed like people were a little bit more engaged in the games than they, later became.
Right.
And then it became like a meat market.
Yeah, for sure.
Depending on how you translate that.
Right, right.
It just, these promoters, they come from out of town. They don't have any investment in the city.
No.
Like,
No.
if you're going to charge somebody $500 to get in a party, why don't you take $100 of that money per ticket and contribute it to, the CIAA?
I agree. Yeah, right. I agree.
So, and there's enough blame to go around.
Of course. Yeah. of
So,
course.
I don't just blame it on the these promoters, but the city too. I think dropped the ball. Look, there's about 12 schools that comprise the CIAA. I might be
Right.
off
Yeah.
with that.
But you're close.
So you're talking about giving them $1 million or maybe a little bit over $1 million, and they have to split that amongst all of them. That's nothing.
It's nothing. Right.
The founders of those schools, which were mainly white,
Yeah.
probably put more money in that
You might be right,
from
yeah.
the Jump Street.
Yeah.
So it's like, that to me is a prime example of, I think, Charlotte starting to feel itself.
Right.
And what I mean by that is that once you start getting the NBA All-Star Game
Yeah.
and the conventions, the DNC and the RNC, you think you don't need that anymore.
Right.
Like, well, your $50 million, revenue, that's nothing. We got the NBA All-Star Game now.
Yeah.
And they were slighted. And it,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully Baltimore is a better, place, even though I have, questions about that. I think a good place for the CIAA would be Richmond, Virginia.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, Richmond's actually very cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
because
very
it's
cool.
sort of like it's near DC, it's
Right.
near North Carolina, you
Right off of the
know.
highway.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, Baltimore is too, but still, it's. But I see what you're saying, though.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Political climate.
Mm.
Where are we? I mean,
Nationally or
yeah.
locally?
Well, both. But
Okay,
let's just pick. Let's just start with on the national front.
okay. On the national front, Agent Orange. My prediction is that he won't get a second term. I
Right.
could be wrong, but
Right.
that's what I feel in my bones. Maybe I'm naive, but I like to think the majority of Americans are, fed up with him.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, he's not a uniter at all.
No.
He doesn't have a clue about the military.
Oh, nothing
He
really.
doesn't know anything about the infrastructure. It's funny. He gave that party for the National Football Champions, Clemson, and burgers and pizza, and I was saying to myself, wouldn't it have been a profound statement if he went to some local businesses,
Yeah.
restaurants, and said, "Look, I'm giving you a chance to make some money here."
Yeah. It would have been.
Yeah, that would have been a profound statement, but I'm used to him not making, profound.
I'm with you. I
Yeah.
agree.
So I don't think he'll be reelected, but I do worry that on the Democratic side, I'm not blown away so far by the candidates that have committed to run.
Kamala Harris, not so much.
I want to know a little bit more.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, she's a strong woman,
Yeah.
very learned. There were some questions about her past and concern, in regards to, the prison system and,
Right.
and incarceration, that kind of thing. But we really need to have somebody that we think can beat Donald Trump.
Right.
I'm not totally convinced that it's her yet.
What about Beto O'Rourke?
Not convinced.
Yeah.
Not convinced. And if if the Democrats wind up losing the national election again, they'll have no one to blame for themselves.
Oh, you're absolutely right.
Because when your most qualified person is 76 years old, Uncle Joe Biden,
Right.
that's a problem.
Yeah,
They
it
should have
is.
been developing someone
Long
new.
before now.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And that person probably should have committed to running maybe a year ago.
Right.
Why not give, Donald Trump committed 2 years before the election.
Yeah.
You have to have that head start because, it's the political process has become as much about how much money you raise than really your ideology.
Right. That's true.
You know,
That's very sad, but true.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got to have the ducats. So
So right now, there's no one that you can think of that is that. Well, I guess they don't sit with you very well so far.
no.
That's so. Let me ask you this though. Democratic Party, of course, a lot of black folks in the party. Do you think that this party takes the black vote for granted?
Absolutely. Dr. King even said himself, he said this in the early 60s that black people should not be beholden to one party.
Right.
Now there are some in the Republican Party that will try to spin and say, well, Dr. King was a Republican. He never said that he was a Republican.
Right. Right.
I think his dad was or registered. But what they don't understand is that at one time, the Republican Party of 50 years ago didn't look like the Republican Party
No,
that
and you're absolutely
we have
right.
now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it was the party of Lincoln.
Yep.
And, the Democratic Party was the party of segregation.
Right.
And then the ideologies switched.
Yeah, it flipped. That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Sure did.
Yeah, yeah, that's what happened. So, to answer your question, I do think they do take our and I don't. And the flip side is that I don't think we hold them accountable
Accountable.
enough.
I agree with. It's funny you say that because next month or in March, I've got the North. Well, I hope he will agree to do this, but the chair of the Democratic Party for North Carolina coming in as a guest, and the chair for Gaston County Democratic Party coming in.
Okay.
So yeah, I will be talking with them, asking them a ton of questions about kind of the same thing about what is the party doing? Is it changing? Sure as fuck hope so.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think that we have a lot of black and brown folks who are running for office, and they're doing very, very well.
Right.
But there still need to be some changes, and because if you honestly, if you look at the Democratic Party and who's really in charge,
Right.
it ain't us.
Right. It's still pretty much sort of status quo.
Right.
And when you look at somebody like Bernie Sanders, who is labeled as a progressive,
Right.
some people call him crazy for the some of the things that
Yeah.
but you need an injection of a different type of mindset.
Yeah, you do.
If
You
you're
do.
if you're a Democrat now, you can't think like the Democrats did 20 years ago.
But do you think that the new crop of Democrats that are in office now they're the ones that have taken on that new mindset? The ones that were recently voted in?
I hope
In
so.
the House,
I mean, a lot of diversity.
Right.
A lot of women got in, a lot of people of color.
Yeah.
I mean, and that I think that's just a reflection of the makeup of the country
Yeah.
as it is.
I agree.
That was bound to happen.
Right.
That was almost like it was prophetic.
Right.
That was
Right.
going to happen.
Yeah.
So those who still try to hold on to the old ways.
Yeah.
I remember Oprah
Good luck.
Oprah got in trouble one time when she said, well, we just have to wait for them to die off. The old heads that, still, think like, what was that famous Democratic senator from North Carolina, Jesse Helms.
Oh, Helms.
Yeah.
He
she
was a Republican. But
Republican,
yeah.
right. She was like, well, we just have to wait for them to die off.
Yeah.
There may be some truth to what, I hate to say it, but, I mean, sometimes, you need a new youth.
You do.
Youthful mindset with new ideas
Yep.
and that don't, play the skin game.
I went to this this event the other night at I think it was First Baptist Church, and this Jewish guy had written a book, and I don't recall the name of the book now.
Color of Law?
Yes. Yeah.
I missed that event. Yeah, I do want to get that book, though. Is it really good? How was the event? I know you said you
The
went to
event was amazing.
Yeah, okay.
It was amazing. I haven't read the book.
Okay.
But of course, he talked about the book, and based on what he said, other people talk about when they read the book. And in fact, I can't think of the names. It's a shame I can't remember these damn names. But he read the book. He said this book freaking pissed me off, but pissed off in a good way. It's like, what the fuck? My government is like this.
Right.
So it's almost the same way I felt when I saw the movie 13th.
Okay.
Did you see 13th?
Yes.
I was.
That was, shout out to Ava DuVernay. That was one of the most well-researched
Yeah.
documentaries I ever saw.
Yeah,
Because she
yeah.
was pulling stuff that I had no knowledge of.
Right. Right.
And some of those secret recordings and
Exactly.
things like that, that should be public record, maybe is public record, but they certainly don't teach us that in school.
But the bad thing about it, though, man, there's so many laws and
Right.
policies
Right.
in place to make sure that black and brown folks and women will not ever get ahead.
Right.
Policies.
Right.
I mean, what kind of shit is that?
Right. Right.
And they're still on the books. It would be great if we could get rid of them, but some of the laws are still in place. But it's just amazing some of the things and I'll say this, some of the things that took place back then.
Right.
The unfortunate part is some of those things are still taking place today.
Right.
You know, I think the Republican Party or whatever for North Carolina up in the state, they passed all these things to make sure that Cooper wouldn't have as much power.
Right.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You know, but it's this is true fear of losing power and of a country that will be black and brown.
Right.
I'm like, but it's, oh God, yeah, 13th really got to me. This guy's book, I'm sure if I read it, I'll be pissed off too. But it's just amazing that this is a dirty freaking country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dirty country, man.
Right.
Listen, I'm glad I'm here, but damn,
Yeah.
the things that we have in place that are laws and policies, they're pathetic.
Well, it speaks to, I've always felt like you affect change by the ballot and by your wallet. It's just those two things.
Right.
You know what I mean? A lot of times we're the captains of our own misery, when it comes to, people
It's
of
true.
color.
Yeah.
We can get riled up, over R. Kelly.
Oh, yeah.
Or whatever hashtag is popular
Sure.
at the moment.
Sure.
And then in 30 days time, we're back to, status quo,
That's true.
I think back to like the Trayvon Martin case.
Right.
I always felt a profound statement could have been made if like we boycotted like Disney.
Yeah.
Isn't that amusement park not far from that area down there
I think
in
you're right.
Florida?
Yeah, I think
like
you're
if
right.
we would have said, we're not going to spend any money there in this state,
Right.
Because they probably make more money through that park than anywhere else.
It's a tremendous amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think of the profound, Dr. King, the Montgomery bus boycott.
It took a year, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to stay the course.
Right.
You can't just, rally behind a hashtag for 30 days and then it's like, oh, well, nothing's happening quick enough. So let me just go back.
I'm just going to go back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. You have to be tenacious and stay the course. And,
Yeah, you do. You do.
That kind of spirit
Yeah.
has to come from us.
Let me just say about this one thing too. I hate to go
Yeah.
back to this book, for instance.
Yeah.
But in the book, the guy talks about this Jewish guy who's the author talks about projects,
Right.
and he said, most people don't realize this, but the projects were never built for black people. They were built for working class white people.
Okay.
I'm like, what?
Right.
He said over time, those white people who were in the projects moved out to the suburbs.
Right.
So they could get away from the black folks.
Who were moving into the projects.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So now all of a sudden there was no more federal money going to these projects where the white folks were.
Right.
And now black folks are, or I should say it's reduced funding.
Right.
Black folks are moving in. They have less than. Everything has always been about less than.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't repeat everything the guy said, but I'm like, I listened to all of it, but I'm like, my God, man.
Right.
It's
Systematic.
it is a very systematic thing.
yeah,
That is
yeah.
so
Right.
true. Again, even if you look at it, if you look at some of the things that were in 13th, that 13th Amendment it's awful.
Yeah. They're
It's awful.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny, as a kid I was a big fan of Schoolhouse Rock.
Right, yeah.
And just from that you learn so much about how government works.
Yeah.
Like I think if you took like the average person and you gave them a surprise pop quiz
Right.
on how the government
Oh, they're going to feel that shit in a
operates,
second.
the average person would, but Schoolhouse Rock taught that. I would
Yeah.
like to see like a reboot, but
Conjunction
black.
function and all of that.
Yeah, like get one of these hot rappers, somebody like Chance the Rapper,
Right.
to do the voice, and maybe Drake or
Right.
you know whoever, Lauryn Hill, and like do Schoolhouse Rock over.
Lauren Hill ain't gonna show up, but go ahead. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
she might not show up, but you know, but like reboot it.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because that series really taught a lot.
Yeah, it
you
did.
know,
It did.
Yeah,
In a very fundamental way.
for
I mean,
many generations.
oh, for sure.
You
Yeah.
figure that came out in the 70s, so.
Yeah.
You know, I got my wife Betty to buy me the DVD set
Is
like
that right?
5 years ago.
Is that right?
Because I was like, I gotta
That's
have,
cool, though.
I gotta
Yeah.
have this.
Yeah,
yeah. I need to brush up. I'm just a Bill. I need to relearn. You know, as John Singleton said, relearn.
Oh my God, I'm just a
Yeah.
Bill. I'm only a Bill.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Back in the day, man. Listen, are we in a big town or a small city?
We are in a.
I say big town, but that's
I
just me.
would have to say big town also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charlotte thinks it's a major city. And I'm like, no.
I think on a national, how people look at Charlotte from the
Yeah.
outside, the narrative is that, you know, it's one of the fastest growing cities in the country. And it's
I agree with that.
been that
Yeah.
way for a
For
while.
some time. I agree. I
The
agree.
problem is the identity. Like, what do you see yourself as?
Right.
You know, for the longest time, I used to hear, "Oh, Charlotte's going to be the next Atlanta." Why didn't
Right.
Charlotte just be the first Charlotte?
Right. Exactly.
You know, and like, you know, sometimes depending on how the wind blows, you know, we don't always know what it is, you know, who we are as an identity, you know.
That's true.
We tear down everything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
we tear down so
There is
much
no history in Charlotte.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The only history you're going to find is in the museums.
Right.
That's where you're going to find it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. You know,
Yeah.
thank God that the Little Rock Cultural Center is still standing.
Yeah.
That was built in the early, I believe it was the early 20th, like maybe 1900.
Okay.
And it was a black pastor who actually ran
Right.
that church. So, you know, and there used to be a small shotgun house in the back. I don't know if it's still there.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I
think
know
it's up
there was some vandals at one point, but there are not enough of these places.
Right.
And then when I hear that they're going to build something called Brooklyn Village,
Where's that going to go?
um,
Is
I'm-
that where the original Brooklyn used to be?
I'm hearing that it's going to be somewhere in that vicinity, maybe like within a 5-block, you know, radius.
Yeah.
But my thing is, okay, Brooklyn was a predominantly African American community.
For sure. Yeah.
I want to see the price points of the condos and the apartments that spring up there.
You know what that price point is going to be.
Then it ain't going to be Brooklyn.
No.
They need to
No.
change it and call it something else.
Call it Crooklyn.
Yeah. Don't besmirch, you know, the memory of those people who held that, you know, community together by naming it that. If you're not going to, you know, if we're not going to be able to live there,
Afford to live there,
work
right.
there, whatever.
Yeah. No, I listen, I'm with you, man.
Yeah.
I'm with you, and that which goes right into this next thing, which is Charlotte growth, and but we've kind of talked about that already. But because again, in terms of growth, I'm all for Charlotte.
Right.
I'm from here, but I just wanted to do things better when it comes to people that look like us.
Right.
It has some things in place,
Right.
but it's just kind of surfacey. It's just like, we take care of it. Yeah,
How do
whatever.
you feel about like the symbolism of having the first black female mayor?
We have black folks that are head of almost everything.
Right.
And I think that part of it is great.
Right.
But again, what policies are in place?
Right.
and the laws that are in place. So some of those things they can't even freaking change.
Right.
Now, no one is saying that those people are there to uh, be the next Malcolm X. Nobody's saying that.
Right.
They have to be a leader that's going to take care of everybody. But they should do something that deals with us, period. And I think they're really afraid to do something like that. But you also have people that are like the chief of police. There's some things that he can do for sure. Different way of policing.
Right.
Something's gotta change because everybody's taught to do things the same damn way.
Right.
In other words, you're gonna shoot black people first, then you're gonna ask them damn questions.
Right.
Like, no, that shit needs to change. Is the city manager black or white? I don't know. I'm not sure. But the mayor, I think Vi is in a fantastic place to make some great changes.
Right.
I just hope she does it.
Yeah, I hope that we, give her the space
Yeah.
and we're patient. I've talked to some people that, say, well, we're 2 years into, this sweeping change.
Right.
I mean, I don't think we've ever saw a city council look quite like this in terms
And it's all Democratic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's the guy Takari. I think that's his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah,
I think
he's
he's a Republican.
Yeah.
But I would like to see more done, more pushing of the platform that they all ran on.
True.
You know, and I know they're doing the best that they can, but affordable housing has become such a buzzword
Right.
lately.
Yeah.
And you got 3 financial institutions ponying up $70 million.
Right.
That's not chump change. What's next?
Right.
What's the plan? At some point, you have to say, no, you cannot build here.
Right.
You have to say no to a builder. Mm-hmm. Because if you keep saying yes because they're cutting a check,
Yeah.
we're going to continue to spin our wheels. And, how many condos and high rises do you need?
Got me.
And where are these people?
I mean, are they
Where-
completely
where-
full? I don't know.
Where are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, are you recruiting them from out of state? I don't. Where does this demand come from?
Yeah.
It's just very, very puzzling. I mean, I haven't been here as long as natives, but I've
Right.
seen some neighborhoods that were, havens for a lot of, illegal activity get raised,
Sure.
rebuilt.
Yeah.
And the people who live there don't look like the people that I saw
No, absolutely
20
not.
years ago.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not, man. I mean, you remember the Braxton riots, the riots that he was in and all that.
Right.
If that same energy were in place, we would see housing today, or affordable housing today. If that same energy was in place, we would see a lot of things happen a heck of a lot more quickly.
Right.
But because we're not fighting, because we're not angry,
Right.
those things are not going to happen. Again, back to the book, the guy who wrote the book, he said we need another civil rights movement. And it hit me, and I'm like, you are absolutely right.
Right.
For some of these things to change, some of these things that don't make sense, get that shit out of here.
Right.
And I'm like, well, that's a very good idea. Not that I don't think I'm going to be the one that's going to start it. You never know. But I think that there needs to be some kind of a movement.
But it has to look different than it looked in the 60s.
And he said that. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
it's got to be, high tech, for lack of a better word. And I really think it needs to, there needs to be more emphasis on making sure that we get out there and vote, because
Right.
people died for that, to give us that
Oh,
right,
for sure.
and we don't take advantage of it.
No.
And we definitely don't take advantage of it enough on the local level,
Right.
which, as you know, affects everything from when your garbage is picked up to the water you drink.
Yeah.
We don't seem, there needs to be like more of engagement with young people.
Right.
And it
Yep.
has to start. Here's an idea. Civics courses should be taught in kindergarten,
Okay.
but you would have to frame it so that it's something that they could understand.
Right.
I remember when I was in elementary school, we used to have like these, like whoever was running for president at the
Right.
time, the elementary school would vote. So
Okay.
even at that age, we like sort of understood, this is the process.
Right.
Now, who you voted for, you would, have to do your homework and research,
Sure.
read
Yeah.
the paper,
Absolutely.
go ask your parents, like, what is the person's, but I think if you start like making civics a requirement at a very young age,
Right.
then I think young people would be more engaged because it would become like, tying their shoestrings.
But you understand that now that, if we went with that, every civics book, history book would have to be rewritten. Because the shit that's in there isn't the truth.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you would have to constantly update. That's what I said.
Right,
it would
right.
have to be high tech.
Right, right.
Everything because these kids today, they don't read books.
Right, they
They're
don't.
like walking around like this, like zombies.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
day with their eyes. So you have to. It would have to be on some sort of platform,
Right.
where it's attractive to them,
For sure.
and where you could facilitate like real, engagement, with them.
Right.
But kids are very smart.
Yeah.
They
agree.
and the things that they have at their disposal now, there's no way that, young people shouldn't be more conscious. I don't use that stay woke stuff. I wish that word would go.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, back in the day, you would say, well, that person's conscious.
Right.
Or like Spike Lee at the end of School Days said, wake up. It was always like being, we were awake.
Being woke, maybe.
Yeah. But it's like, now we got to say, stay woke?
Right. No, I get it.
Why do you have to stay woke? You
Right.
should never been sleeping anyway.
Exactly. Yeah.
Should never been sleeping on your enemy anyway, whoever that enemy may be. Because
Right.
sometimes that enemy could look just like you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly right. That's so true.
Yeah.
Hey, man, real quick.
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh man.
If you have one. You may not have one. Shit, I don't know.
I probably like P.F. Chang's.
Okay.
I like the Chang's.
Okay.
Yeah, I went there for the first time when I went out to L.A. the first time. Yeah.
What's your favorite drink?
Oh man, that's a good one. Crown. On ice.
Yeah, I love B&B.
Yeah.
You smoke cigars?
No, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
So this, I was going to say, tomorrow kicks off Black History Month.
Yeah.
Really, we kind of kicked it off tonight.
Yeah.
We did. You know what I mean?
We did.
So, Trey, thank you very much, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. I got to tell everybody, the show is actually coming on again tomorrow.
Okay.
Another show tomorrow.
Who do you have tomorrow?
That's what we have coming up here tomorrow. We've got the
Oh,
Lockhart.
my man, the Lockhart.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Darrell.
I was Facebook friends with him for so many years, and I finally met him
Right.
a couple of years ago at a Sundance, a local Sundance had an event here, and he brought
Right.
his son.
Yep.
And how you walking by it and you look back, and you're like, I know that person.
Right.
Yeah, it was such a cool moment.
Yeah, they're
He
gonna
was
come-
very sharp.
Coming in tomorrow, are going to be talking about, because they have their own podcast show.
Okay.
And it's called, oh my God, Something generation. That's a damn shame. Anyway, they're into aliens and I'm sorry, sci-fi
Right.
generation.
Right.
That's the name
Right.
of the podcast. So
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about that. So Margot, she says to me, "Hey, can we bring a bottle of wine? Just have wine while we're talking." I'm
Yes,
like,
why not?
absolutely.
Yes.
So we're going to be doing that tomorrow.
Okay. Okay.
Then-
Aliens and spirits.
Exactly. And then on the 4th, we've got these folks coming in, Bad Image, but they grow medically inspired hemp.
Oh.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And
Is that
beca-
legal here yet?
well, because it's medical stuff, yeah, it's legal.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not like legal like it is in Denver.
Colorado. No, no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
No, here's the deal. Check it out. The first one of these I made up, it
Right.
said, we grow marijuana for a living and we want everybody to know it. And he hit me back up and Lorenzo was like, Steve, we got to change that wording. I say, oh, okay, no problem. So I had to put medically inspired hemp up there.
Oh, okay.
But they're going to come in on the 4th, the 4th, and we're going to talk about what they do and the importance
Wow.
of it and what does it help and stuff like that.
Right.
So pretty cool, man. It's some of the shows that's going to be coming out.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm definitely going to tune in. So you're doing the back-to-backs now.
Yeah,
You're
for-
not
for the-
going a week.
For the month of February.
Okay, for the month of
Yeah,
February, you're
yeah.
doing back-to-backs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, for the month of February, there are 15 shows.
Wow.
I know.
You're
I
going to
know.
be heading back to Dubai after this, right? Didn't you go to Dubai?
Not recently.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You might be heading back there after this is over. Like, I'm tired of you folks.
Right. Bye. See you later. But yeah, man, it's 15 shows for the month of February because Black History Month. I wanted to open it up. I didn't want to have just 4 shows.
Okay.
Because we could talk about Black history every single day.
Right,
You know,
right.
so I got another group coming on. Their name of their organization is For Black Centuries.
Okay.
And they're talking about, things that happened 400 years ago up to
Okay.
now.
Wow.
So, I mean, very interesting stuff. This
Right.
guy that's going to be coming on the show, he's talking about, he's an academic,
Okay.
getting his PhD in that.
Nice.
And I'm like, damn, that's really, really good, man.
You
So
see all this talent that's
I know.
surrounded.
I know.
It's and these are all people that are local.
Yeah,
Like you're not flying anybody in.
not yet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But no, everybody is right here, though, man.
Okay.
Which is fantastic.
Wow.
I think it's great.
Wow.
But listen, man, let me go and close this show out.
Yes.
Folks, thank you for watching. I really, really appreciate that. Trey, appreciate you, man, for coming on the show. I had a ball talking
you.
about
Thank
everything,
you.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and I would encourage everybody to watch. Again, we're going to have a ton of shows for February. The first one kicks off tomorrow. But just make sure you watch it. I do appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Done.